Good morning, everybody. Trevor here, back with another Fitness Friday. Today, we're going to be playing around with this little hip circle band. As a note, pause this video. You can go to Amazon or any online site, but Amazon's an easy one. Just type in hip circle bands and you can find these things. Relatively inexpensive. Some great ways to strengthen your core, do some different things like the hips that we're going to work on today. So keep that in mind. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Trevor Brown. I have been a gym owner for the better part of the last 15 years, owned Carney CrossFit for over the last 12 years, been into fitness my entire life. I turned 40 this year, so I've been really coaching people in the fitness business for the better part of the last 20 years, especially. And on these days, we bring you just little fun things you can do at home. Last week, we worked on things you can do in a chair or ways to work out and just get active and get moving. The beautiful part, this applies to anybody of all fitness levels and abilities, from the elite down to the absolute beginner. So that's what we try to do on these Fridays, just inspire you to get up and get moving. But we also sprinkle in a little bit of nutrition from time to time, as I am the head of business development for Life-Based Solutions, which is a nutrition software company. So with that in mind, if you have questions or you'd like to get a hold of us, just go to lifebasedsolutions.com or shoot me an email at trevor@lifebasedsolutions.com. So we're going to keep this short and sweet this morning. We're going to show you a few exercises you can do with this. And why this? So let me explain. We deal with elite level athletes, high school athletes, college athletes, people who are out of college or playing professional sports on a regular basis. And one of the ways in which we warm up for things like squats or any movements where really involve the legs, we'd use these hip circle bands in some capacity. Now, it's a good idea to always get kind of warmed up and loose and sweaty first, right? But once you're warmed up and ready to go, you've been moving around, we can really focus on some stability work and some very specific accessory work to activate the things like the glutes and the hips to get you prepped for squats. But for those of you that are very beginner that might be like, well, Trev, I can't even squat. I've got so much hip pain, I can't move. We got some things we can help you out with. I was inspired because this morning, one of our gym members, Dustin, a great guy in his early 50s, recently just had a hip replacement, and he is kind of back past the rehab point after surgery and needing to get active again and do some things. And so we've got him using this band as a way to strengthen up that hip and get active again. So just know that no matter what level of fitness you're at, whether you're looking to throw 400 or 500 pounds on a barbell and squat it, or we're just looking to alleviate some hip pain, maybe you've had a hip surgery, but we just want to strengthen that general area of the body, this is going to be awesome. So I'm going to give you some very simple things you can do. All right, so these things come in different tensions, all right? And by that, I mean, like different resistances, right? So they can come super stretchy, like this is a pretty easy stretchy one. They also come in a more thick band that's harder to pull apart. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this around my ankle. So I'm gonna tilt my screen forward here, okay? All right, put this guy around my ankles. Now, from here, what I'm looking to do is always keep constant tension on the band. So I never want to stand close together where the band's kind of loose and there's not much tension. So I want to keep tension on it, right? Now, from an athlete standpoint, we never want our knees to cave in, always want our knees to cave out. One of the ways in which we prevent knee injuries, okay? I'm going to take about a quarter squat. So I'm just going to initiate that by driving the butt back, knees down just a little bit, okay? And I'm going to start by driving my knees out, and I'm going to walk forward in a very robotic motion. So it's right, left, right, left. Now, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm constantly focusing on keeping my hips tight, my glutes engaged. I'm going to take maybe 10 to 20 steps forward and then do the same thing backwards, 10 to 20 steps backwards. Notice that my knees are always driven out. I'm tight, like I could go down into an air squat at any point, right? Okay, so that's the first movement. Quarter squat, 10 to 20 steps forward, 10 to 20 steps backwards. You're going to start to feel it kind of in the top corners of your butt cheeks there. All right, then we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to go side to side. So I'm going to shift over here to one side of my screen. Constant tension. This one is a little bit more difficult to get the right feel for. I'm going to step out. Notice it's like a wide squat stance here where my knee is still driven out. Then back together. Constant tension on the band. Out, back together. I start in the squat stance, heels underneath the armpits, out here. Out here. So maybe 10 steps one direction, 10 steps the other direction. So the key faults with this would be a person doing this, stepping out wide, and now that knee caves in. I don't want that, right? Or doing this, and stepping wide, and then bringing the feet together. Wide, feet together. You see how the band gets nice and loose. So as we do this, constant tension on the band, constant tension in the hips, starting in a squat stance, heels underneath the armpits. Small step, bring the feet back to that squat stance. Small step, feet back to the squat stance. All right, so that's your second movement. Final one. This was the most challenging. You'll be on your tippy toes, and I'm squeezing my booty. So I'm going to squeeze the butt cheeks and those hips come forward a little bit when I do that. And now it's small steps, side to side. Constant tension on the band as I move from side to side, right? So you've got 3 movements there. Come back into camera angle here. 3 movements to strengthen up the hips. You can start with just the first one, where we're walking forwards and backwards, and then progress to the lateral movement, moving side to side. Your third one is that one on the tippy toes. That one's a little bit more challenging. You might need somebody to kind of walk next to you and have a handout for you to balance on if you're brand new to this stuff. But 3 easy movements to strengthen the hips and get you up and moving regardless of what your fitness level is. Guys, it's been fun. I look forward to seeing you next Friday.